So many stories of Americans rising to the occasion in this crisis, donating meals to healthcare workers, checking on their neighbors, and organizing food drives. Tonight, we're taking a closer look at a growing nationwide movement of makers, designers, engineers, science teachers, and students, all banding together from their basements and garages, using 3D printers in some cases to help keep much-needed personal protective equipment on the front lines. ABC's Devin Dwyer has their story.
It's the sound of American ingenuity in a time of crisis. A cottage industry of 3D printing teachers and teenagers gaining steam to fight COVID-19. From Louisiana,
other people are doing their part, and it's time to do mine,
to Montana.
Over here we have the bank of 3D printers.
Entire families turning their basements and garages into production lines for that personal protective equipment now in short supply.
This is our lab, our 3D printing lab that we put in our garage for the time being.
Colorado 7th grader Amelia Brown and her father Matt giving us an inside look at their operation. 3D printers making plastic headbands for face shields, 1 per hour, around the clock.
This is one that's being printed. The printer takes thin beads of plastic.
The printer's melting filament to create a pre-programmed design on a heated surface. Many makers using donated raw materials to create their prints free of charge. Others selling at cost, about $1 a piece.
And these down here are finished.
In Maryland, Todd Blatt shows us how a laser cutter shapes those clear shields. His art studio turned assembly line, churning out more than 1,200 shields so far.
We're shipping out 500 face shields today to Arizona.
Retired Air Force engineer John Grant is part of the effort. He's attaching overhead projector sheets from school classrooms to 3D printed headbands. He says a college professor inspired his face shield design.
He would always tell us, just remember, the experiment can always be solved with the materials in the room. And anytime I've come up on some kind of problem that seems insoluble, I say that to myself, and somehow I'll find a way to get it done.
The American spirit of generosity, unflinching in the face of a pandemic.
You can see our little collection bin right there. Whoa. Yesterday we collected about 250 visors.
Minnesota science teacher Mark Westlake has collected more than 700 face shields so far from dozens of volunteer 3D printers across the Twin Cities.
Here we'll bag up all of the shields that have been donated.
His St. Thomas Academy Innovation Center, now a community distribution hub.
Chris, who are these going to?
This is going to the Dakota County Sheriff's Department.
Many deliveries headed straight to the front lines at local hospitals.
Over and over and over again, we hear we've had to use the same 3D printed shield or the same visor for days, and they're cracked and they get foggy and they can't be cleaned anymore. I mean, that's the way the PPE situation is right now, and it's a little scary.
The FDA says 3D printing may be useful in a pinch, but warns homemade protective gear is unlikely to provide the same fluid barrier and air filtration protection as certified equipment.
Eventually, companies that make this professionally in batches of 10,000 at a time are going to fill that gap.
You guys are something of a Band-Aid.
Right. We're just trying to fill a small gap.
The shortages even felt in rural America. Montana teachers Buffy Smith and Jake Spearson have been getting orders for their 3D printed face masks nonstop.
Montana Department of Corrections ordered 200 of them. Montana Eye Care ordered 100 of them. And then, interestingly enough, we made some that were going to West Virginia to a doctor there. That's kind of how Montana works. You know somebody who knows somebody. And
the printers in Buffy's basement by her son's drum set running around the clock. Near Denver, the movement is taking off. More than 1,500 community volunteers banding together to make for COVID. Now starting air delivery of 3D printed PPE to rural hospitals.
figured this was a way I could use my skills to help where needed.
Volunteer pilot Eric Eklund is on leave from United Airlines. His cargo today, 8 boxes of homemade face shields for a hospital that just got its first COVID-positive patient.
We really started to realize that those full face shields were very, very important. And in fact, I was pretty worried because we were counting them to say, do we have enough to get through a shift or two? That's why, I mean, well, boy, were we blessed when somebody said, hey, we've got the solution for you. We'll bring them to you.
And part of that effort, shields made in Amelia and Matt Brown's family garage.
How does it make you feel to see these hospitals actually be getting these shields?
I'm glad that they're getting to where they need to be. That's what we're doing it for, is to help people, you know.
Families filling the gap for PPE, one 3D printer at a time.
There's always something that everybody can do. Even if you don't have a 3D printer, you can help somehow.
For ABC News Live, I'm Devin Dwyer in Washington.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.